Hi everyone, it's me again. This one really is going to be quick. It occurs to me through some interaction with family and friends, but mostly family, unfortunately. It occurs to me that what's holding most people back from meaningful connections with others, and what's holding not most people, but what's holding some people back from having meaningful connections with others and living a life where you actually feel, I don't know, like somewhat connected, is an intense need to focus on the self. And there is absolutely a time for introspection. You must be introspective to be an effective person, a happy person. You must be introspective in an honest way, not in a self loathing way, and not in a never accountable, everything I do is right kind of way. It's so hard to find that balance, and who am I to tell you where it is? But if you don't have satisfying relationships with others, if you don't have satisfying relationship with your children or your parents or your spouse or your friends or your coaches or your teammates or your colleagues or your staff or your whatever, if you don't have satisfying relationships and you don't know why, and you're turning inward and you're paying attention to your own behavior, you might find that the majority of your decisions, the majority of your actions, the majority of your behavior and conversations are self important or at least self focused. If you're at a birthday party and sitting at the table, you find that you are only talking about yourself. Yes, you may have the need to share your life with others. That's actually a beautiful thing. But if you're only ever talking to wait for your turn to talk and complain, that's a big red flag that you need to address. If you talk more than you're able to listen, which sounds one sided and I'm trying to make everyone a servant, but if you talk significantly more than you're able to listen, that is going to put a strain on your relationships because believe it or not, your self focus and your this happened to me, that happened to me, oh my God, this is going on with my health, that's going on with my job, that's going on with my kid, that's going on with whatever. Oh, the drive here was such a pain in my ass. My job was so hard. Blah, 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 blah. If this is what you sound like, and it's hard to be honest with yourself about this, if this is what you sound like, it is going to strain your relationships because you are always the one with something wrong. Conversely, if you are always the one who's getting an opportunity to celebrate and hey, look at me, hey, look at me, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that. If you are always the one who's completely unavailable for whatever emotional connection it might be with others, that you got to look inside and say, wait, am I constantly unavailable because I'm doing something better at all times? Now, no one's telling you not to live your life, but this is the flip side of it. It's another form of being just completely self focused and self absorbed. If your answer to every save the date with family and friends is, I might be doing something else, I might be doing something better, and you excuse yourself for constantly doing that based on the idea that life's too short and we got to do wonderful things and we got to live it to the fullest. It sounds like such a great philosophy, doesn't it? And it is. Live your life to the fullest. But when you're asked to set aside dates that matter to the people that should matter in your life, and I am going to use the word should, family in particular, hopefully, family, hopefully, children, cousins, nephews, godsons and daughters, parents. I don't know. It sounds to, for some people this makes common sense. This is common sense, and for others it isn't. But when you're asked to have respect for certain days, a birthday, a passing, a memorial, etc., and you opt to not save space for those days because life's too short, I don't know. It leaves me thinking that you might be, for hedonistic concerns, for me, for you being special and more special than the person who is having the memorial or having the celebration or having the grief or whatever it is, it feels like you are putting yourself in front of them. It feels like you are putting yourself first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And my answer to you is that you will always cause suffering when you put yourself first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, even your own. Because at some point, like they say, smile and the world smiles with you, cry and you cry alone, or something to that effect. This is true, but at the very least, for the people closest to you, if you stand beside them when it's raining, they might have an umbrella for you when you're going through your storm. Hedonistic, me, and woe is me, eventually gets to the same place, which is a disconnected life, and you won't know why. And you won't know why. Make space for other people in your life, whether it's, again, through the good things and the bad things. Making space to genuinely hold what other people care about more outside of yourself. You can't love people if you never look outside of yourself. If all you care about is you, again, whether it's the woe is me, you're at a birthday party, you're at some celebration or memorial or whatnot, and all you talk about is the pain in the ass to get there and how challenging your life is. Maybe you need a therapist if you're supposed to be at a social gathering and all you do is complain. And conversely, maybe you need a therapist for other reasons if you simply pretend not to know certain special dates and don't plan your life accordingly. Don't act like there's people in your life that matter deeply. And I will challenge you to hold your children, your brothers, your sisters, your nieces, your nephews, your godsons, your goddaughters. I will challenge you to hold them in a more important place than yourself every so often. And I think despite rescheduling a trip, despite rescheduling a visit to Comic-Con, despite missing your hockey practice or whatever, I think you'll actually be happier when you do the things that matter to someone else. And I think more holistically, I think you'll actually be happier. And I genuinely believe, despite the fact that life is too short, I genuinely believe you will have the time for those wonderful not selfish, but time for, self-care, time to put yourself first. That'll still be there. Again, I've said this so many times. I don't know the person who needs to be taught to put themselves first. I haven't met him or her yet. I really haven't. I met a lot of people who think they need the lesson of putting themselves first. Anyway, that's there's maybe room for debate, because as I say that, I kind of see myself as a person who needs to work on that, putting myself first once in a while. But that's the point I'm making today. Through constant complaining or constant hedonism and disregard for anything special beyond what you want to do, those are two forms of intense selfishness that I think lead to a plethora of concerns, some of which you'll never hear about because you're forcing people to have to heal over resentment in scenarios where your lack of empathy is creating a dent and forcing someone else to have just an immense amount of grace. Having to live with people on either side of this form of self-importance and self-centeredness gives the people kind of in the middle of it all, gives them no choice but to have an immense amount of grace. An immense amount of grace. Anyway, care about others in a way that is genuine, in a way that respects. Don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to be constantly available. But when you know somebody has specific dates and special things and special times, care. When those people are supposed to matter to you. Those are my thoughts. Multiple forms of selfishness, funny on the two different complete opposite ends. But I guess to wrap it up, focusing on yourself too much doesn't lead to happiness. In fact, it leads to the reverse. Thanks for watching. And what might lead you to happiness is giving. So if you want to join the Give It All for Jean Paul Canadian Blood Services team, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching.